There's a guy by the name of John Spolstra who wrote one of my favorite books of all time. I highly recommend it. It's called Marketing Outrageously. And you can't miss the cover. It's a sumo wrestler dunking a basketball. Cannot miss it. I found it in an airport in Cincinnati on the way to Vegas once. And I read the book from cover to cover on the flight. And John was one of the pioneers of sports marketing back in the day. This was in the 80s. John realized that sports was not about sports. Sports was entertainment. Again, let's go back to the 2 reasons why people come to the internet. It's kind of applicable. But John was a master at coming up with creative ideas and getting people to buy from him, subscribe to him. Isn't that what we're all trying to do here? We're trying to get people to come and buy from us or subscribe from us or click on our links and go buy from somebody else. John had a great attitude about ideas, and I've held to this idea of this in my head for so many years now. He said, you know how I know when an idea is fantastic, like a really great idea? He says, I walk into a room full of people, just like this, and I tell them the idea. If half of the room cringes in horror and the other half of the room laughs their butts off, I take the idea and I hand it to my team and I go, let's go. You know how I know when an idea completely fails? Completely? When everyone just looks at me blankly. If you're not creating a reaction or an emotion in somebody, customers, it's really kind of hard to get them to pay attention to you and get them to give you their money. Create a reaction in people with creative ideas. There's a company by the name of Jones Soda. A lot of you probably know who they are. They're about it was like 15 years or 10 years ago. They were a $20 million company. They make really good soda based out of Seattle. But they're competing against Coke and Pepsi, who collectively spend about $1 billion a year on advertising. When you're a $20 million company competing with giants who are spending your budget times 10 million, how in the heck are you going to stand out? So Peter Van Stoke was sitting in his car one day on a drive, and he said to himself, how am I going to compete? Because as a CEO of a company, as a business person, you're always constantly thinking, how am I going to compete with competition? I don't have their budget. I don't have those types of things. How am I going to do it? How am I going to stand out? And he had an idea. He said, I'm going to make soda that tastes like turkey and gravy. Right. Did everyone just see the reaction? You know an idea is good when you get a reaction. We're talking about consumerism here, okay? We got reactions here. Some people laughed, some people gasped in horror. Exactly what I told you was going to happen. Peter took his company from $20 million to $44 million in 4 years, directly off the back of about $25 million in free publicity that he got from making some really disgusting sodas.